Hey guys, welcome back to King's Outdoor Life. We are behind my shop today, and I've already gotten started. I'm always so eager to get started that I forget to record sometimes. In doing these videos, what I've learned is what could take an hour, if you video it, if you do it right, should take an hour and a half, 2 hours. In my case, if what should take an hour, if I'm videoing, it takes an hour and 5 minutes, because I only waste about 5 minutes on setting up the video and doing all those things. So that's why the video quality is always not the best in the world, because I'm too focused on the job at hand. So anyway, we're around back, and let me show you what we're doing. I've got too much junk. Doesn't everybody have too much junk? So around back of this shop, workshop, whatever you want to call it, is great storage space, but it's not in the dry. So as you can see, I've bought a bunch of lumber, a couple of 4x6s, and all the lumber I need to shed off the back of this building to do about a 10-foot by 24-foot lean-to for storage. I can park my mowers, the Polaris, or mine's a Yamaha Rhino all-terrain vehicle. I can put all that back here behind it. So what I've done today is I've marked off my spots. So I'm gonna have a post there, a post here obviously, and a post over by the temporary dog run. And then this will give me a place to come out to the back, and I'm gonna replace that window with a door so I can come out the back into this little storage shed. So I've dug my hole here at 10 feet away, and I've got my, what do you call this? Post level. It levels it both ways. So you can see my bubble here is within the bubble. My bubble here is within the bubble. The post hole diggers are holding up for now. I've got my Quickrete already in the hole, and now I'm ready to tamp this clay that was already there. I'm gonna tamp it around it and get a good solid post here, and then I'll do the other two. Have you ever tamped a post hole? Growing up, we never had Quickrete, so we put all our fence posts in like this, and then we would tamp it. Take a, in this case, shovel handle, and tap, tamp, tamp, tamp all that dirt in around on all four sides. In this case, I dug my hole where I've got one good side of solid earth undisturbed, and I'm really only having to tamp 3 sides. You want to be careful when you're tamping not to knock it off plumb. So a little more dirt, tamp, 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 tamp. And since I've got a huge layer of concrete under there, it doesn't tamp so much. When you're using just dirt, you can sometimes bury your tamping rod down a foot or more. So you want to be sure you just tamp that rock solid, and when you're finished, you'll have an immovable post. 1, 2, 3 post set. You got about to put the ledger board above the window the rafter will sit on, and I'll show you what that does. All right, so I got that rafter up, knots the end there so it's set solid. Oh, I don't think I showed you the end post yet. Got the what do you call those end boards? Header, I guess. Both those rafters up, and I was going to show you a pro tip here. So pro tip here, I got Lawson helping me. We've got the markings where this rafter needs to hit on this cross member, and I've got it marked, but the rafter is twisted. So we have Lawson here, he's screwing a screw in the top part of that rafter. So screw it all the way, almost flush, but not all the way, so you can grab a hammer. So grab a hammer, hook to the screw there, and twist the board over to exactly where you want it. So get the board in place, and then twist that rafter over to exactly where you want it. Once you get it straight up and down vertical, then you can nail your lathing in, and you've got a straight up and down rafter just like you like it. All right, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to come to the end and just kind of walk you through step by step what I did here. And I think that's what people really, if you're looking at this project trying to figure out how does somebody do this, here's the way I do it. I'm not saying it's right, but here's the way I do it. So I just finished setting my post. You saw that. So here's where the posts are. And then the next thing I'll do is I'm going to notch the outside of my post where that rafter is going to sit. That way they're each sitting on solid post and carrying that weight. I can nail through the post and carry that weight on the outside. I did this with a chainsaw, so that looks kind of janky there. But anyway, don't look at that. So I notched those. Next thing it is, I put up my loader board across the wall. So I put that 2x4 all the way down to carry those rafters. So I know that's where that's going to go. And in my case, I want to go as high as possible, but stay under that batting board right there, knowing I got this board on top and the metal on top of that. It'll go right up on top, but stay under everything. So know your height, know where you're going to put that. Next thing it is, see my mark right there? I marked where each of those 2x4s we're going to hit, excuse me, each of those rafters, 2x6s, are going to hit on that 2x4. That way, I'm not guessing. I marked these, I put these on 4-foot centers. I could have put them on 3-foot centers, probably should have, but anyway, that's what it is. So, mark your 2x4s or there where you want your rafter to land on that. So then, once you get those all marked, one of two things is going to happen. Either you got to do your math to know where this ridge beam is going to hit. That's what I call it. Is that the right term? I don't know. That band across the end, you got to know where it hits. On level ground, you can do the math and do your rise over run calculation. But in my case, I'm on such a slope here, I couldn't do that. So what I did, let's come back up here. I came back to the end. I cut my rafter tail at 2 and 12. That was the pitch that it was going to be on. And then I held it flat against the wall and I marked my board on this end. I actually did it on the center because I did the math and knew about where it was going to hit anyway. See that line right there? That's where I knew it was about where it was going to hit. And then I knew, well, you still got a little bit of slope to get on the back side of that post, but I knew if I'm nice and flush on the back side of this rafter, I've got the right pitch downhill. So once I had that line, I carried it to the front there and I set this band level. So you know this spot here, mark it. Get on the other end and make sure it's level across there. Use a good 4-foot level, make sure it's level and mark it there. You can nail that up. So I put that band up on both sides. That way I know my height is perfect across here. Because on this sloped ground, I'm at 10 feet down there and 8 feet up here on this end. So that's level. Once that's level, I know my 2x4 across the house is level. I know I'm in good shape with pitch all the way across. So the next thing I did, I set all these rafters. And again, I marked them here and I marked where they're going to hit on the band. So it's at 4 feet and they're nice and square. Put up all your rafters and then you're ready for your lathing. It goes across like this. On my lathing, see my marks there? I marked where those go. I had a bad mark there, I had to fix that one. So I can make sure each one of those lath strips hit on my rafters on the right spot. So that way I marked my rafters this way, here and here, to make sure all those are straight across this way. So I can run my 10 and all my nail lines will be nice and square down through there that way. So I marked my top of my rafters where each board went, and then I marked the actual lathing board to make sure it hit where it was going to hit there. So once all those were up, then I came to my rafter tails and I cut those square. So I put a level right there. You can put a level and make sure it's good and straight up and down the ground that way, or you can take your speed square and mark it, in this case 2 and 12. I did both just because I'm not enough of a carpenter. I wanted to be sure it was right. If you knew where this was going to work out on the end, you can do that when it's on the ground and it's better. But I didn't know for sure where I was going to end this because I don't have my metal yet. So I made a decision there where I wanted it to end. So now when you come back here, you're looking at a nice end cap there, or fascia board is what that's called, instead of those rafter tails sticking out. All right, so now the only thing I got left is the metal and I'm good to go. All right, so I've got my metal here and I marked, I don't know if you can see those holes or not. I marked my places and I went in and drilled my holes. So I got, there's only 8 pieces of metal, but I've drilled through, made sure they were all lined up and drilled through. So these screws are self-tapping screws. It'll drill through them, but I've just learned over the years it's easier just to to do this. So anyway, this will make sure all my screw holes line up, and not that anybody will ever see this, but it'll look good if anybody does. Here's another pro tip. I've got this little board screwed on the end here to where I know it's going to come out to the end of my tin, or metal as this case may be, and I've got that measured off on the other end. So now when we run these pieces all the way down through here, we should be able to keep them pretty straight with that string down through there. The neighbor was mowing, so we'll do a voiceover after the fact. So we got all the metal on. Didn't take but about probably an hour and a half to put all the metal in place. This is a 2 and 12 pitch, so it was easy to climb around on, get all the screws screwed. I don't think anybody will ever be up here to see that all my screws line up perfectly, but you can see there we go up under the fascia and soffit of the barn, so it shouldn't have any water come under. Now from the underneath side looking up, you can see what that looks like. So everything looks good from this side, and here in the next week or so I've got to find me a door to go where this window is. So I'll cut out that section right there below that window and put a door there. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd rate this project about a 4. You do have to climb around on ladders and do some general construction work, but not much to it. All in, I've got about $500 in metal and lumber here, and it's going to be a great place to add some square footage underneath to keep equipment in the dry. Hey, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, click like, subscribe, and share with a friend.